This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. You put it out of your mind and simply begin to make your way to Nevermore, the brothel and apparently a lot more of an establishment that is run by Quoth's sister, none other than Lotus, who you hope to be meeting soon. You get to making your way, and I think it's easy to assume that there isn't much conversation. The kind of just a vibe of what happened hanging in the air more than might be liked, but put out of your mind one way or another. And it is as you approach the location that you note two things about its location. Three things. One, obviously it's in Section C territory, but it is quite near to the general area that was indicated to you as one of the possible places where those apartments you're looking for are. It's just a couple of blocks over, in fact. Two, Nevermore, and as such, that location, that general area you're searching, or will be searching, is very near to another contested location. You'll recall that as a result of you being away for a week, and collectors having had a lot of shit not go their way, Section C managed to push southward into their territory very significantly, and they are basically at risk of being able to swallow an entire district of collector territory that had been fought tooth and nail for over the last few years. Thus just being able to reverse course on just the insane amount of work that the collectors have been doing. It's currently on a razor's edge, and you get the feeling that that kettle may very well boil over in the next few days. Shit has been fraught lately. The last thing to note is that Nevermore is a rather different vibe. Would our next guest star please do us the favor of introducing themselves and describing what you see for us, please?
Hello, I am Scarlet, I use she, they, and I will be playing Lotus. Akin to a bar that one would see in a populated city, there is a staircase that leads down into the street, into the road, whatever it is that makes up this place. Surroundings-wise, there isn't really much to write home about. It's very standard issue for the City of Hope's Rise. Very clumped together, perhaps concerningly so. Nothing odd about it.
When they near it, Vex would at last turn to Quoth and say, I have some business with your sister, Lotus. If you wouldn't mind introducing us.
She looks back. Presumably the journey over, she has just been reciting poems about bats. The Raven would be pleased to introduce her sister to another.
She nods.
The stairwell, assuming you take it, is shockingly deep. It is cordoned off with iron wrought fence, like around it, such that people can't accidentally fall in. There's grip tape on the stairs. It's well enough maintained. As you enter into the final, landing of the stairs, directly in front of you, there is a metallic sort of mailbox, air quotes, with a piece of paper in it that has Nevermore delicately written along the top. It seems laminated. And directly to your left is a door, and above it, purple neon text. Very simple. Nevermore.
She would allow Quoth to presumably lead her in.
Opening the door reveals how colossal Nevermore is. A warehouse and then some of space, and within them, the first thing you notice, 4 pillars of bodies, equidistant, and approximately in the center of the room, stacked up to what has to be 10 times your height, 3 or 4 bodies worth of width, all types, walks of life, builds, though clearly few scars. This seems to be a rich thing, whatever this is. Around where their eyes would be, there are blindfolds. None of them respond to either person entering. You can only presume that the columns are attached to a given pillar's spinal column reaching up into the roof, black and red with wires trekking down the full thing, assuredly touching the roof, assuredly touching the floor. The pillars sink partially into the floor, and walking in here, you are walking in a very slick pool of water. Not one that goes up to more than 2 centimeters. It smells slightly antibacterial. Along the very edge of the area, of the full room, is a vent covering. Seemingly, 4 large pieces where the liquid drains into. At the very end of the room is a tapestry-like throne, made seemingly to look like a Rorschach test from this distance. Rough human shapes of blacks and grays, nearly, quote, rushing to hold up a large throne, on top of which is sitting a woman, assuredly intentionally a splash of color in the otherwise quite monochromatic space.
And yeah, you see all of this and you recognize immediately that this is like the heart of it. You know that there's brothels all throughout the city in various places, and there is most assuredly some that are connected to this facility in higher floors, which are maybe a little bit more cozy or whatever, but this is instinctually, or this is the bowels of this operation, and you see all of those people in those pillars, and they're hooked to them. There is some thing going on with them that immediately makes it clear that this woman, Lotus, who runs this, has a distinct and intense knowledge of cybernetic and nerve technology and science. You don't hook up this many people to things of this nature without being intensely knowledgeable. And it's as you kind of walk in and you spot one another that you get a better look at her. That splash of color notably being drawing your eye and being the most notable thing in the room. And yeah, Lotus, you stir as you see that someone to the same description as the second newest dredge walks in alongside your dear sister. What does Vex see? What do you look like now that you've described Nevermore?
You have assuredly grown accustomed to, I'll simply put it as the eccentricities of Quoth. Lotus, from the first word, a very interested and delicate, "Why, hello there!" seems to act in near exact counterpoint. A warm, inviting, potentially too excited and enthusiastic kind of person. She leaps from the throne and ends up landing a fair distance away from it, such that she can meet the two of you more properly. Average height, similarly sort of live form to Vex, wearing fairly form-fitting clothes to accentuate her body quite clearly. A red dress with a golden trim, legs revealed up to about halfway around the thigh with some lace patterns. Her hair is white, tied up in a ponytail with a few strands that frame her face, and the ponytail dropping to about slightly below the collarbone. The most obvious thing that separates her from the normal people, large air quotes, of Hope's Rise is the fact that along her back there are a minimum of 8 dark-colored prosthetic arms that all seemingly react to every little movement she makes. Of all things, she strikes you more as, like, cute than traditionally sexy, despite running a brothel.
And perhaps most distinctly is one of the most, like, not outwardly will turn you into mincemeat levels of, like, threatening looking compared to every other dredge that you have met.
She, for a moment, just kind of awkwardly folds her arms and waits for Quoth to address her first.
Quoth, as they have, like, you know, walked through this surreal room, has summarily ignored everything around her. Very, very visibly used to it. As she approaches Lotus, the raven returns to the nest, this time with a guest.
She smiles slightly. I've noticed.
After saying that, she moves over to Lotus's side to face Vex.
Vex, still not really knowing how formal greetings very well in this place, just does her usual simple raising of one arm. You must be Lotus.
Indeed, the one and only. Well, perhaps not the one and only, but I presume the only one that you will come to for the sake of things that you require.
Yeah, I'm Vex. I'm here primarily on account of our mutual friend, Ephraim.
She arches her eyebrows slightly in surprise. I'm not shocked that the boy didn't tell me that you were coming, but do you have a good relationship with him?
I think so. As good as you can have with someone like that.
I suppose that's a fair assessment. She scratches the back of her head with a mechanical arm. Fair enough. What is it that you require? Is it... I presume it isn't, R&R. I can recognize that look in your eyes. I presume it's not a simple delivery job.
No. She hesitates for a moment. He has given me some information of yours that's normally supposed to be kept secret, but I hope that I'll be able to convince you that it's for a good reason. And if it means anything, he apologizes, and with that she would hold up the gift that he gave to her.
A nearly incongruous part of Lotus that you can notice especially as you are closer is the fact that around her neck is a thumb drive necklace, also red and gold, but the case seems to be able to move around, presumably depending on what kind of outfit she's wearing. For someone who is very, very intentional about what they wear, it's just an odd detail. Nonetheless, she takes the box, and the various arms around her go to open it.
And as you do, you are greeted with a gift which only Ephori would really know to get you, considering
It's a dead
what
bird.
you do. Yeah, it's a dead bird. Just hope you like it. It's a dove. It's got white feathers.
Fucking thanks, Ephori. Throws it onto the fucking floor.
You open it up and you see it's a chunky thing, but it's not like huge, but it is something which you are familiar with. You've not seen this exact make before. It's rare to be able to encounter something of this type without it being specifically produced. It isn't as simple as just computer memory. This is something which, in essence, is what I could only really describe as a like high-end RAM doesn't do it justice. It's like a level of like random access memory which would be a like notable upgrade to a server or a data bank that you would plug it into, as it is essentially something that can offload like the smaller and less like significant processes and calculations, and most importantly, it can act as something that can like essentially recover data when there is small shutdowns or small like power losses and stuff like that. This is the perfect kind of thing that you need for running continuous memory stimulation and simulation.
Her mechanical arms take it first, but she quickly brings it in with one of her proper flesh and blood arms and scans it, turns it around, getting wider pupils and a slowly expanding smile. I see. In that case, this is... oh, what's a good term for it? This is quite the kindness that he's giving you, which is certainly not bad. I simply find it intriguing. She, after some contemplation, places it back in the box and gives it to one of her arms, which places it presumably in some variety of like storage that's along her back. So, that rolling out of the red carpet aside, I could bore you with what it is, but I think that you are the type that doesn't particularly care.
It looks like a computer chip. Extra RAM or something?
More or less, but it's a good one. A very good one.
It looks like it. It looks expensive as hell. I wouldn't mind having it. Never mind.
You actually do note, Vex, that it is like... that thing is high-end. You've got an eye for this stuff at this point, and like... you've been encountering more and more like cool as fuck technology these days now that you're out of this fucking probation, and like it is it's not as like flashy, but like, oh boy, you wouldn't even be able to plug that into your home computer because it's just a completely incompatible and different system, but like, god, can you imagine? That would be so sick.
She had to visibly bite her tongue to avoid asking, like, can I see that? Just to, like, look at it for a minute, you know? But, regardless.
Nonetheless, Lotus jokes, I'll see if I can, get you one as a gift.
Don't worry about that. As to the real reason I'm here, I guess I'll just jump right into it. I know we haven't really properly met before, but I need help from you that, as far as I know at least, only you and your extremely advanced and secretive technology can provide.
Her eyes narrow slightly, not in a bad way, more in an intrigue kind of way. And what would that be?
I can't remember anything from more than 8 years ago.
Really?
Sometimes I have random flits of memory, or sometimes I see stuff in dreams and whatever, but it's mostly just, I woke up and I've just been doing my own thing since, and I've realized recently that I need to figure it out. So Ephrai has been helping me investigate shit with me, I guess, and he mentioned that you have highly secretive and advanced things that might be able to bring out someone's memories, even if they themselves can't remember them. I'm going off of what he's been telling me here, but...
Vague things, yes. A palm of one of the prosthetics raises whilst she places a proper hand to her chin. He does not give that information away frivolously. So it's interesting that he gave it to you, but that is more than doable.
You know how he is. He's all wrapped up in thinking I'm this puzzle to solve, and I guess he's right to an extent.
Yes, I believe that he has figured me out quite well. Vex, do you do well with ladders?
Sure, I think so.
Very good. In that case, follow me if you will. She begins to walk closer to the throne, but to the left of it, where you are facing.
She starts to follow, eyeing the pillars around her as she goes.
I'm nervous that you think that's a standard procedure. It really isn't. That's only for the richest of the rich, and even then, there are portions of it that I don't like.
I'm not... It's not my field of expertise. I'm sure you know what you're doing.
Well, dare I say, you would be goddamn right. She goes to a door, similarly black, very inconspicuous along the wall, and opens it. There is a sink and a ladder that goes directly up. Quoth, if you would like to continue hearing our conversation, I suppose, feel free to go to, I suppose, my lab. And Vex, if you would be so kind. The various arms gesture to the ladder. It's a fair distance up, but take however much time you need, and once you are done, tap on it twice.
Quoth disappears into a vent.
Yeah, that just happens next to Vex as she stares, blinking a couple of times. I just keep climbing, or...
You'll get to... There's only one stop.
Right, okay. Sure. She hesitantly starts to climb it.
As commented on, it is quite the climb. It is notably a little bit taller than the room that you were just in. But I presume that Vex would have no issue.
Oh, she's done this with no legs.
Well, if I may, does she tap on the ladder?
When she reaches the stop, she would, yes.
The room at the very top is only a little bit larger than you are tall. And in the very corner, there are some generators, some batteries, transformers, that kind of stuff. And Approximately to your left are 4 large stations that quite clearly house at least the supports for the weird spine machines. When you tap on the ladder, it takes about 6 seconds, and Lotus is at the top. She has, in the time that you took climbing up, swapped to a lab coat with no frivolities, no attempt at, well, sexiness. Very, standard issue. Much appreciated. I hope that my sister has been of no concern. She starts walking to the right, where there is a notably walled portion, presumably the lab in question.
No, not a concern.
She cocks her head slightly, almost in the way that a mother would when she knows that a child is lying. Providing Vex doesn't crack after a few seconds. It's, a neurological issue. Both of us have it. Runs in the family, you see.
Oh, I mean, she kind of scratches the back of her head a bit. I mean, she just seemed really good at what she does.
She is, but... She exhales and is quiet for a few too many seconds for that to be the final thought that she has, and then... Right, to work. Opens the door and allows Vex to enter.
At the mention of the disease, the neurodegenerative disease that both of them have, you do suddenly click something that wouldn't have been a thing to note before, but the both of them have spine-centric enhancements and modifications, right? You didn't see it directly with Quoth, but those arms are obviously anchored to something, and it's clearly going to be a cybernetic on the spine. And sure enough, as you follow in behind, you get a better look at Lotus's starkly heavy duty cybernetic that is plugged into her and very strongly anchored. It suddenly kind of clicks as to that tracks. That tracks as to why they would be good at this memory stuff.
Vex, as she likely has hundreds, if not thousands of times before in the city, considers herself lucky that the enhancements and augmentations and such that she's equipped with are very much practical and suited to her purposes, rather than her purposes needing to form around what augmentations that she needs.
Hey gang, welcome to the break. We have a fairly short one this time, as there's not really any extra things to be talking about, so let's just jump into it. So, if you've been enjoying Heart of Hope, which I certainly hope you have been, then if you are interested in getting even more Heart of Hope right now, you can do so over on my Patreon, on patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. You can get hold of an episode ahead of time. That's right, you can listen to episode 25 right now if you pledge as little as $1 a month to my Patreon. You can send me more if you just want to be super cool and awesome like that, but even that small amount of $1 is going to get you hold of that new episode, and we'll do so for the coming months as well. Alternatively, if you want to support me and you want to support the show, but you can't do so on a monthly basis, then I do have a Ko-Fi where you can do a one-time donation, which is at the same of eternal_savvy. I'm pretty much the same everywhere. If you want to find me, that includes Blue Sky and YouTube. Obviously, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you know that already. And of course, my Twitch, twitch.tv/eternal_savvy. I currently have a new TTRPG in the works as well, which is going to be live streamed rather than edited. Looks like it's probably roughly going to be at minimum a month or month and a half, maybe more out right now, just by virtue of availability for my players. But I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to announcing it properly. I'm very excited about it. Stumbling over my words. But yeah, no, keep an eye out over there. Only place where I'm different is my VOD channel, which is staying_savvy, if you want to see where I upload my Twitch VODs. Also, if you are one of the wonderful people making us fan art, which is on screen at the moment on the YouTube version, then you can send that to me over on Blue Sky, either by tagging me or by using the hashtag Heart of Hope, preferably both. We've already had so many fucking wonderful pieces of fan art that I'm so grateful for. And I love seeing your guys' interpretation of each of the characters. I am going to be trying to do some of my own soon, even now that we've had a little bit of time for people to kind of get their own images in their head. I was cause I didn't want to influence things at first, but yeah, no, thank you so much to those people who have already done so, and I hope to see some more. Alternatively, if you are on our Discord server as well, you can actually submit it over there on the fan art channel instead. Also, if you're listening to this on YouTube, please do us a huge favor and subscribe, and comment and like and do all of the proper like algorithm engagement stuff to help out, to let people know that this is a cool thing that they should be listening to. If you're on any of the RSS feeds, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, any of that stuff, rate it, download it. That is the way to help with that. And also, I'll just say this directly. Tell your friends. Tell the people who you think would enjoy this show that this could be their jam, and to go check it out. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful ways to get words out there on anything, after all. So I'd really appreciate it if you do as much. But other than that, we don't have anyone to credit today in terms of prompts or such, other than thanking my wonderful guest stars, Penny and Scarlet. So we'll leave you to get back to the episode. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The laboratory itself is fairly dimly lit with 6 lights. It's about the size of a living room as we would know it, and I presume a full apartment as the people of Hope's Rise would. 6 lights dotted around, illuminating the place fine, but accentuating a chair, something like that you see in the very center that would more be akin to something you would see in a dissection parlor. Bindings placed along where the arms and legs would go, as though reminiscent of an afterthought. It isn't lit fantastically, and there are marks of blood to and from the chair, seemingly. Alongside the chair, though, is a wall of pipes and spines and wires and screens that are very far beyond your understanding of electronics, and very backwards as to the more smooth technology that you have gotten used to.
Can I ask Savvy if, like, not that this would be, like, exactly the same or anything, but does this kind of setup or this kind of facility ring any bells with what Vex has been, like, dreaming about?
So the big difference here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lotus, is that Lotus's stuff feels... scrappy isn't really the right word. It's more like, it's like constructed with a concern for the direct medical use and practicality, but it feels directed, and it's almost like you're seeing a thought process in motion. Everything is like connected with, like connected properly, but then positioned and plugged into one another with more of a concern for what works for Lotus and what's like convenient for Lotus, rather than like a proper place for everything. It's so clearly her workstation and a personal project. Most of all, it feels human. And while it's all still like really kind of far beyond you in that same way as what was in your memories or your dreams, to say that the equipment and such was cold is a huge understatement. To go one step beyond that and to call it, instead of cold and clinical, like arctic and inhuman. Everything was precision engineered and placed with more concern for like protocol or bookkeeping before any consideration for people using it. It almost feels designed by algorithm levels of like hyper precise.
In regards to the room around her, Vex would just say, pretty intense setup you've got.
Well, please understand my comment when I say that you cannot not be intense and do what I do. I apologize if her arms gesture to the, weird blockade barrier, next to the chair. If that's a little bit off-putting, I know that, this may seem more like something, that someone cooked up in their backyard, and frankly, now that I think about it, I guess you could say that it was that a long, long time ago.
No, I like it, if anything.
Oh, I appreciate it, genuinely. People usually do not come here in the highest of hopes. I do apologize, though, if you will permit me, I believe it would be pertinent to have you, disrobe as you deem comfortable. I can recognize when someone does not want to interact with the world feels wrong, but when someone likes being more covered up.
I mean, I'll do whatever's necessary. I admit that part of me thinks this all kind of sounds like science fiction a little bit. I mean, messing with people's memories is crazy, but I mean, I've also seen a lot of crazy shit, so whatever you need, I'll cooperate.
And I genuinely appreciate it. Downstairs you saw a piece of my job, but this is nothing short of my passion. She walks over to around where Quoth is, and the arms pick up a handful of quite clearly recently cleaned electrical tools and such.
She would, as instructed, she would at least take off, like, the extraneous things, like her cloak, some of her belts, and her boots and such, and her mask as well, before sitting down.
And, at this point, you feel the best step is to start with your, like, level 1... like baseline tests, essentially. Very routine for Lotus at this point. You see that there is a practiced and measured, like, muscle memory to the way that Lotus goes about this, and there is this very strange, I wouldn't say like calculated precision, but it's more just like going through the motions, right? And each of her arms seems to be set to task for just like picking up certain things, getting like various devices on, everything within arm's reach. And in no time at all, you have got these, like, you know, pads kind of like attached at various strategic points around your head. You see that there is these, like, pads, which are attached to various parts of your body as well. They kind of act almost like, sleeves at certain points, that, like, tighten around, like, your biceps or your forearms or, like, some parts of your legs and a few key places, like, on the neck and stuff like that. And, the final thing that is attached to you is this, like, it's not a set of goggles so much as the best way to put it would be a rig to keep in place a device that is, like, directly pointed at your eyes. It is quite jarring and uncomfortable, but in due time, you kind of have everything set up, and you see Lotus is ready to kind of flick things on and start getting the baseline at your command.
So, of course, if you have any questions in regards to the full processes or what have you, I will readily admit that this is the best-case scenario. You said that you were an amnesiac for 8 or so years, or beyond 8 years, rather.
Anything from further than 8 years ago is, like, just almost completely just gone. Like, I don't know. Like, I've looked a little into other, memory loss type cases and stuff, but I mean, I haven't read about anything else like to this extent, I guess, so I'm not really sure what happened. Or
in that case, if you'll permit me a curiosity, have you noticed how common it is that people end up with amnesia, losing their memories within the City of Hope's Rise?
You have not. It has only really come up a couple of times. You thought that you were finding cases of amnesia because you were looking for them and just kind of doing a confirmation bias kind of thing. But you do recall one moment where you were talking to Stitch and he mentioned he had memory loss as well. And maybe it's just human nature. Maybe it's just like, oh, I know someone who has a story and so it feels more real. But, like, that sudden thing of just the 2 data points of, like, I've looked it up before and I did find stuff, and someone close to me seems to have memory loss. You're like, and now this expert's mentioning that Hope's Rise people seem to have more memory loss? Okay, what's up?
she'd frown a bit. I mean, do they? I've only ever lived, well, as far as I know, I've only ever lived here, so I don't know, I guess, but I mean, I do know someone else who has some memory loss. She shrugs.
Statistically, I guess that isn't a big surprise, but yeah, it's, well, plenty of my, compatriots, be it the ones in the columns downstairs or otherwise, have complained about it here and there, and she lowers her voice. Quoth complains about it a fair amount too, but I imagine that's potentially separate. She taps her spine. This will certainly feel alien. I presume that you haven't done anything like this before.
I don't think so. She was about to, like, fully lie down, but suddenly sits up again. Is any of this... This is a random question. Is any of this gonna involve messing with my blood at all?
Weird fucking question.
Yeah, Lotus's expression becomes implacable for a second, and her hands fully stop in motion. No, not... Well, there is a... If this does not work, then I will need to start messing around with your body. And there's a chance that your blood could leak out, I suppose. Why do you ask?
That should be fine. It's fine. She lays down.
Please understand that this is a genuine curiosity. She positions herself, over by where your head is. Do I get to know why or no?
I would prefer not to get into it just yet, but if anything weird starts happening, just get the fuck out of the room. Lock me in here if you have to.
Sorry, get the fuck out of the room?
Yeah, just if... Never
She
mind.
stands...
It's fine.
She stands back up. So...
No,
No? She again gets that, like, concerned older sister look. I just need to know, is there a chance that my gestures to the wall adjacent to you equipment gets destroyed? If so, I need to prepare for that. And furthermore, I've never needed to prepare for that, she says in a way that seems more excited than concerned.
I don't think that will happen, no.
Okay. Then we may begin.
You kick off the device, and this is the baseline. It is very much just like testing that everything is good, that everything is normal. Vex, you see as these devices that have been like positioned in front of your eyes kind of fold down to properly at this point obscure your vision and like have a more direct line into your eyes. As everything kicks off, you see what is in essence this like strobing effect, which starts as flashing and is like very unpleasant to be looking directly into before it starts to like calm down, and you see it like slowing in frequency, and you start to see that the lights are like instead having this like shuttering effect, as if they are like flicking downwards slowly, as if it's like scan lines kind of just like washing over your eyes and presumably like sinking to your retinal like, you know, sensors and stuff like that. And you feel that these pads that have been attached to the various strategic parts of your body, it takes you off guard for a moment, because it feels like all of a sudden that there is like this tingling sensation that runs across all of those places. It's dull, but it seems to run through the ringer of like, for a moment it feels pressure, then it feels hot, then cold, and then wet, and then like a little bit of burning and a little bit of tingling and a sharp little like electricity. It's like as if it's just like going through a bunch of different senses, and they're all dulled and seemingly synced up to these devices on your eyes. You watch as the various monitors and devices suddenly start to build this like set of colors and like heat maps, and you realize after a moment that it is developing a brain image, like a genuine like full scan of your electrochemical reactions within your skull. You don't see anything different or anything unusual, but Lotus, there is something immediately that is like, this is baseline, and you just aren't ready to see something that is not baseline, as the density of her neurons is just way higher than it has any right to be, and you've seen people who have enhanced their like gray matter density. Like, this is, for all intents and purposes, as if you are used to seeing gaps in certain key places where there would be like a need for a blood supply for veins and arteries and stuff to go through, and that's just all gray matter as well.
That thing happens where, like, I imagine after a bit, the colors subside. And you get to hear the words that every patient loves to hear when they go to a doctor. Oh no.
What? What is it?
No, nothing to concern yourself about, I don't think. Give me a moment. After 10-15 seconds, she prints out a picture and puts it on one of the I knew the word of this, but it's not coming to mind. A like screen for an X-ray, functionally, for
oh yeah, like the light boxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then walks over, places herself back into like proper eyesight. So, your brain is not normal. Which I think is very interesting, believe it or not. From what I can tell, blood should not be able to flow into there. But it presumably does, considering the fact that you're still alive. There is a lot more gray matter than one can, I'll say, reasonably hold. If you are normal, especially if you are like me and my sister. Did you know about this?
She, like, kind of tries to sit up a little bit. I imagine her head is, like, kind of unmaneuverable right now, but she still tries to, like, look vaguely in the direction of Lotus as she speaks.
She undoes the bindings, but it's clear she will need to redo them.
She rubs the sides of her head a bit. She looks oddly like not surprised, but a little upset that apparently her brain isn't normal. As she hugs herself a bit after a moment and says, "All right, look. In the same way, I'm not gonna breathe a word about any of this shit in here, or what you do.
I don't breathe a word about whatever you're about to say. Do not worry, I've talked with Ossuary. She looks at you with the eyes of someone who has dealt with him for far longer than you.
Yeah, but I mean really not tell anyone, not Ossuary not tell anyone, alright?
I think it's a genuine laugh out of her. And then she just nods. Genuinely won't tell anyone, I assure you.
She explains to Lotus the events that led to her investigation, at least in vague terms. She basically explains, while searching for leads and information on what her deal is and what she may have been involved with previously, she had her head blown off. And after that happened, something to do with her blood and circulatory system reacted/animated inside of her and went a bit crazy, and then over the course of a few days regenerated her head and brain and skull from scratch.
A full week, I should note.
It was, yeah, a full week it took to do that, but it still happened, and it also seems to react poorly to her blood or heart being interfaced with specifically in any way. And in the same way her brain is not normal, her heart is completely stark white.
I presume that body parts being stark white is not something Lotus has heard of.
People dye their skin or hair that way, like, for the sake of aesthetics and stuff like that, but, like, the heart?
Can I ask a stupid question?
Sure.
I presume you did not do that of your own volition, not that you can recall at the very least.
I am finding out about all of this as it's happening. I don't know anything about where it came from. I've had flashes of memory of these places and these people, but I don't know what any of it means or how it connects or what it has to do with me. But obviously it's kind of impossible and insane, and I want to find out what the fuck is going on with it. I don't want to get you or anyone else in trouble with whoever's behind all this, but I mean, I can't just, like, pretend it doesn't exist.
If I am in trouble with anyone, I assure you. She doesn't finish the comment. I should mention, as you explained all of that, she wide-eyed in awe, listening. Vex, I do not want to bolt you down in one location. However, I do not say this lightly. If I can know... Oh, that's why you're also not scarred over, is that right?
At some point, it's when this, whatever this is, activated, it started, repairing damage that has been there for a long time.
Okay. Please understand that I am saying this from someone who, as a conservative estimate, I would say has 40 years to live. I think that there is a chance that what you have just described is something that would at least get me far closer than I have ever been to curing me and my sister of our issue.
I wish I knew more about that.
I can be more about that, but that is for later, not for now. So, I presume you would have said something if it worked. That is meant to sort of... I explain it as it's meant to light a spark on kerosene and, oils and such. But shockingly enough, oils and kerosene are not what we are dealing with here, quite distinctively, quite clearly. So, I'm going to need to get a bit more intrusive. The exact order of operations is making it so that your spinal column is numb, drilling into it very gently, and interfacing with it. Minimally, in a way that is reminiscent of the human mind. Am I to presume that we will act as necessary?
Whatever it takes. I want to find out what's going on and who I am.
Whatever it takes, indeed. I'm happy to hear of a like-minded individual such as yourself. She goes back to where approximately Vex's head would be and starts doing the second level of preparation.